And we are live, and this is Thomas together with Jaro and Svetlio. Am I pronouncing your name right, correctly?
Yeah, sure.
All right. And it is Wednesday, if I'm not totally mistaken. And this is the EuroScrum, and this is my first Scrum after my absence. So I'm very happy to be back with you guys. If I'm doing something wrong, please bear with me. I might be a little rusty on this. Anyway, people focused, I guess, since there's so few of us. Jaro, would you like to start?
Yeah, nothing much about me. Just as I planned, I've been polishing off that pull request I've done for the live sessions list.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the pull request has grown way too big, and I was the guy doing a good job on making really short pull requests, just a few lines, and teaching other new members how to make short pull requests and all that. And unfortunately, I ended up with a big pull request for this feature because it's been in development for 3 weeks now, and we have started with John, and then continued with Amal, and then I continued by myself, and it's just way too long. But hopefully we can. It may look big, but it's not actually that big if you look into the files themselves. So hopefully we can get it done with Brian, and I will go back to sticking with the short pull requests.
All right. Okay. Well, I understand the theory about keeping the pull request short and neat and stuff, but I always said that as long as they stay on focus, they can. I mean, some features are actually, they require a lot of code, but as long as the pull request stays on focus, and you as a developer don't deviate, and fix some other stuff that we usually are tempted to do, then a few hundred lines of code extra is it's acceptable sometimes, but.
Well, I think, since you're back, we can actually move back to the old ways of managing pull requests, because since we only had Brian, and we were trying to push all the other members to do code reviews, and we also had for 2 months we had this rule that any pull request before being merged has to be reviewed by at least 2 other members. But unfortunately, the only 2 guys that were, making an effort to review the pull request was me and Sam Pretty, and Brian, of course. And other guys stayed out of it. And also another thing, sort of, we have slowly agreed with Brian. Well, everybody kind of agreed with Brian that if in our pull request we get across some code which should be refactored, then we don't keep it for a separate pull request. We do it if it's not too much refactoring. We do it in this in this pull request, and that's not the way we were doing it before. Before we just focus on the feature and move the pull request to a separate one. And maybe it's a good idea to go back to the old way.
I think we should. I've been home a few times during my time away, so I was able to catch up a little bit of what has been going on. And just a quick note, quick comment on that. I think that I think the code review is a great thing. I think sometimes you guys have been reviewing that way too much, so you go into too many details. I think I'm always prioritizing working software. It doesn't have to be so pretty all the time. But you can. I was how I was before. I let some things slip through if the solution was working, and then the refactoring was for the next iteration. But I think a balance needs to be achieved. I think you guys have done a great job on several very important features. I think I don't want to. I mean, if this is working, I think we should stick to it. But as long as it doesn't, take over, so we review each other's code in an eternity. I think some of the pull requests that Brian has been holding on to, they could have been merged way back.
I mean, I must say, Brian is just so great at doing code reviews. He sees just everything. He sees commas and dots Like, it's amazing. And I could understand him because, you know, he was the only guy to merge stuff, and he was the only guy to fix things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was only available on the weekend, so some things broke, you know. So he preferred to review it for, like, to make it really thorough. But to be honest, I enjoyed it because, you know, that made my code really, really clean. I enjoyed
And I
it.
think it's great. You know, I'm not saying anything negative about it because I think it's very, very good, and it's a good learning experience. But for me personally, I say pair programming is top priority. The second best thing is peer code review, and in combination, those two things are the best, I think. So as long as we achieve, you know, keep it balanced, and so everything is done properly, I think it's a good thing. So I wouldn't deviate too much from whatever has been working for you guys. I think we should stick to that method, and so I don't want to introduce any big changes just because I'm back. But I think that we need to focus on pair programming and also recording our sessions more frequently than we have. I was browsing the project files for website 1, and the last recorded pair programming session seems to be, let me have a look so I'm not lying to you. You know, it's from the 19th of July, so it's been a month ago almost, right?
You know, actually, Thomas, we have this problem on autograders not showing some videos, and I think website 1 is not showing some videos either.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because I'm pretty sure that there being a session with John Engelbert and me, and then John Engelbert and Amal, like last week maybe or something.
All right. Well, then we definitely need to address that issue. If some of the videos are not showing, so we need to fix that.
Thing is, I was putting away this issue because with this pull request that I have submitted, basically we will record all the sessions in our database. We don't have to request to YouTube to ask which videos are there. We'll have all the Hangouts recorded. You know, so that issue should go away.
That's good. That's good. Let's yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, if that issue is addressed, then we don't, you know, because, you know, the way I you know, for me as an outside guy, you know, I just came in and I saw that there are, you know, 4 pair programming sessions for the entire month of July, and that's like, wow, that wasn't much, you know. So, you know what I mean? It's very important if this current solution is missing some key components and you know, are not updating the feed list enough, then I'm very glad that you have a solution on its way that is gonna fix that. So,
by the way, just thinking about it, I have a feeling, you see how the videos are only from the old members, me, Brian, and Sampriti and Sam.
Yeah.
The new members haven't linked their account to YouTube, and that's why their videos are not being shown.
That's a problem in itself. So they should definitely.
Yeah, that's another thing. But again, it will get solved with this pull request.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So, anyways, what are your plans, and is there any impediments for you, brother?
Well, I have finished with the pull request for now. I will wait for feedback from Brian, and Sly has some questions about starting, so I was planning on pairing with him sometime today, this morning. We'll decide now. And yeah, and I'll be available around, so if anybody wants to come in and pair something, I'll be there.
Okay, cool. And Sly.
The thing is, I just wanted to say that we have a bunch of new members which are doing some work, like I call them the C guys because it's Christian, Chris, Craig, and Christopher.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and but the thing is, it just happened that all of those guys are working at the same time. They have a job, so they can hardly pair, and they're working by themselves.
Okay.
And And you know how, you spend a lot of time dragging me into pair programming and saying I should make more effort about it. And I must say I have been doing some effort about it, but the guys are just not available, unfortunately. Maybe it's summer, I don't know.
I will give them a hard time about that. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because it's very important for me, and I spoke to Sam about this earlier today. It's very important that we stick to pair programming as a almost religiously, because it's that's what crowdsourced learning and collaborative learning is all about. And I think that, and this is something we can return to during this weekend's meeting that I'm planning to set up, for all the developers, if we can find a common time. But it's very important. I think that we can skip a lot of the written documentation and a lot of questions that keep returning. If we just get people as fast as they want to join Agile Ventures, just get them into a Scrum and get them into a pair programming session with a senior staff member like you and like me, or like some of the other guys. And we can together, sell them on the idea of pair programming, and we can answer all their questions. And because as Sam usually says, people don't read long documents. They tend to listen to other, to the coworkers or colleagues. And I think that's a very important thing. And recording the sessions. And I think I had a story in Pivotal Tracker before. I couldn't find it earlier today, but I would like us to set, have a statistics page. Like we had, like I would like to display to the world that we had held a certain amount of Scrum minutes, a certain amount of pair programming hours, and we have so many lines of code produced and stuff like that. Because that is something that is it's tangible. You can see that, oh shit, those guys are pair programming for 400 hours a month, and it's a good thing, and producing 5,000 lines of codes or whatever. You know what I mean? It's something that will sell the Agile Ventures methodology to the outside world, I think.
Yeah, like a dashboard.
Absolutely, yeah. Like an admin interface kind of thing, and just perhaps even packed with a lot of info. Not too packed, because it still has to be viewable, but it's like bam, 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 bam. Lots of members, lots of Scrum meetings, lots of pair programming hours, lots of line of code, lots of projects going on, a lot of new documents produced and stuff like that. So a new guy can feel that, hey, if I'm joining this community, if I join this community, I can do a lot of things, because that's what they are all about. They produce stuff. They roll out software all the time. Like one of the key values I would like to display is how often we roll out new software. How often new line of code make it all the way to the production server, for instance. So it's I think it's very exciting. So we need to talk about those things and return to the do you remember in January and February, when we started this project, we rolled out new features every other day, right?
Yeah, that was really cool. I really missed that.
Yeah, so this is where I want to I want to return to that. And sometimes if you think about that, those pioneering days, and now if you compare the code review discussions you guys have sometimes, when you are down on a very, very low level, should we use this expression or that expression, even though if both works, but sometimes I feel that the discussion is a little bit more about style, and then doing the most optimal solution, which is cool. I think I like it, but put that into perspective of working software and rolling stuff out. You know what I mean? I'm more excited about, personally, I'm more excited about producing, good things and working things and deploying to production than perhaps searching for the ultimate, syntax. You know what I mean?
I agree absolutely, and that's exactly why I wanted to start. I was trying to start the discussion on the development flow. And one of the key ideas to use, to make a proper use of a staging server. So our our develop is more overdeveloped, so some things get quicker to develop so they can get tested and seen by other people, and some features get rolled out quicker while keeping the production and staging still as as a castle, like Brian was keeping it.
Mm.
Nothing gets there if it's not absolutely perfect.
So your idea is that the develop server could be more of a like a demo spiking server and stuff like that, while the staging and production are okay.
Well, I mean, the basic idea is that things should get easier into develop, basically. Right? Not like spiking, everything gets in develop, but just get easy into develop, and then people look at it and test it, and then if it's okay, it either goes. I mean, if it's bad, it goes away from develop. If it's good, it carries on onto staging and then maybe to production at some point.
Okay, we can talk about that. I'm not completely sold, because I see some potential pitfalls with if a feature is not okayed, and some other pull requests have been pulled in after that, the rollback is getting a little bit complicated. It's not undoable, but it's so but if we could figure it out, how to do rollbacks easily, without breaking stuff, I'm up for it. I understand what you mean, and I see the positive things with it, although I see some pitfalls. So let's have a discussion about it on the weekend meeting. But I can support that. I'm not saying no, which is the first. Cool, great. Okay. Without dragging out too long, any impediments, Yaro, right now?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. And Sly, what about you? What have you been up to? What are your plans? Is anything stopping you?
I'm up to refactoring some R specs for the views, particularly for projects. And I was speaking to Yaro yesterday about how things get done here, because I'm kind of new as well.
All right.
So we are going to do a pair programming with Yaro later today.
Cool.
And that's all about it for now.
Make me happy with the ping ponging now, Sly and Yaro. Okay, I love that. So if I see some every other commit made by a different developer, that what makes my day. I think it's wonderful.
Cool.
But anyway, so you're refactoring some specs for the views. Okay, so it's a back-end thing. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was Thomas. That was my idea to set up an epic for Aspect 3 as a refactoring. So any newcomer, when he asks the questions, what can I work on? He can immediately start with this refactoring, and then it's not too difficult to do. It gives you a chance to learn the code base because you're reading the specs and you're refactoring the specs.
Yeah.
And then that's sort of a quick jump start into the project.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Do we have anybody that is any of you guys interested in well, I know you are, Yaro, but Sly, are you interested in front end, user interface and user experience and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. I've been designing some prototypes in the past, and
Okay.
I'm generally interested in UX, but as a whole, I don't have too much experience. Like, I'm not a professional developer yet.
Okay.
I have a project management background, and I've been wanting to be a developer for some time now. And I use the opportunity of courses like CS 169 and CS 50, Harvard's one, to get some knowledge, deeper knowledge about it. And I've joined this project mainly to start doing some development work. But okay. I hadn't too much experience with developing backend or front end yet.
Okay. Okay. All right, because just first of all, just to address one of the issues that Yaro mentioned, please log into the website one, go to your profile, and do link your YouTube, or perhaps you haven't. Perhaps you have linked your YouTube channel, but you just don't have any videos in it yet.
You mean while recording
Yeah.
Google On Air Hangouts?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you do
nice.
pair programming, if you host a pair programming session, you know, if you link your YouTube channel to the website one application, then it will be viewable. Perhaps later, Yaro, when you guys pair on something, you can walk him through that. Wonderful. And because reason I asked, because I set up a story in the Icebox. There are some bloopers, some misses in the some mistakes in the UI right now on our site. Like for instance, I can show you if you have a look at any project whatsoever, and you have a look at the buttons here, you see that the icon is a little off center. So what I would do here, for instance, is I would go. Let's see here. I would go FALG, for instance. Just make it a little bigger, and I would center that a little bit differently. So these are small things that could be addressed. Gen 3px 0p 4px, something like that. See, that's a little bit better, but not completely yet. But you know what I mean. This is small stuff that needs to be fixed. In the UI. And if you're interested in user interface, for the later tonight or tomorrow night, I will be working with those issues, and you can jump in and work with me on that, Sly, if that's something that interests you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm now a lot more confident in HTML, CSS, and SAS and whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, the main thing for me though, I'm a lot more confident now, but mainly in technical things like understanding how it's done, understanding how to do it. One thing that I don't have, I don't have an eye for this kind of stuff. It's like when I look at the page, I don't immediately notice, the glitches.
Okay, but we can set up a pairing session together, because I tend to see those imperfections, and. We can just, we can ping pong this over 2 or 3 persons, if you guys are up for it.
And maybe Thomas, maybe it's a good idea to sort of like take 3 people in a pairing session and just go over the pages, and make a list of all the different things. So like 3 different people look at the same time and say, yeah, let's make it bigger, smaller, wider.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that, and we could try that. Whatever is the fastest way to fix that, because making a list and then revisiting every other pages could also be time consuming. But but then again, I mean, if it's time consuming to fix everything, then you don't want to get stuck on that. So we can try different approaches, I think. So I set that up as a chore, fix UI mistakes, bloopers. I have that in the backlog right now. So I don't know if any of you want to start that, or take ownership of that, and I can just be helping out. I don't know.
Slide, would you like to?
Although it's interesting for me, I'm kind of stressed out at the moment and would like to focus on the refactoring of the different kind of specs because of the, learning the code base and so on.
I understand. Look, why don't you guys, pair on that today, and we can have a conversation tonight or tomorrow, see how far you have come, and we don't have to start this UI thing until tomorrow anyway, so we can return to that in tomorrow's Scrum.
By the way, Thomas, Christopher, he's the UI guy, like, completely UI guy. He's a designer.
Okay.
Who wants to be a developer. Although I was kind of getting a feeling that he wants to code rather than do the stuff he was doing for the last 10 years.
Okay. So he wants to get into the back-end part of things, right?
I think so, yeah, but he's like a professional designer, and the problem is he was really busy lately. He's working on some stories in the current at the moment. I don't remember which one, but hopefully he comes back, and then maybe we can get some help from another pair of eyes.
Gotcha. So just to return to the Scrum slide, any impediments for you right now? Anything stopping you?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Then for me personally, I've been busy reviewing the merged pull request and getting to know the code base again, trying to remember basic Git commands and stuff like that. So, but
huh? I know the feeling. I like after 2 months when I came back, I was like, Git push, eh?
Yeah. So I managed to update my code base locally, and I ran all the migrations and ran the whole test suite, and everything is okay. So I have a few questions, but I can return to that later. But I have one question actually that perhaps you can answer, Yaro. There is this spec. I'm trying to find it here. Yeah. Event combined date and time fields. It seems that we are testing whether the migration is working. Adding some columns and then removing some of them. And I don't understand. I don't feel. Do you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I know exactly what this is because I paired with John Engelbert and Amal, and actually it was me pushing them to make a spec for this migration.
Okay.
The reason for that is what they're doing in their migration. They are taking data from 2 columns, combining it, and putting it into another column, and then deleting the old ones. So I was pushing them to make a spec to check that the data gets combined the right way, and when you do a rollback, then that the migration can be rolled back. So the spec is not actually testing for adding or removing columns. It's testing for data in there.
Okay.
One thing that I was putting off for some time is hiding this output in the specs because it shouldn't be outputting like this.
All right. Okay. The thing is that I don't know exactly how you guys done it, but before when we are done with the, of course we will never be completely done with the application development, but after a while you tend to remove all the migrations and just put everything into one single file, creating all the whole setting up the database in just one instance, I mean, we don't need those migration files after a while, right? We can end up in a state where we know what we want from the database, and this is how it's going to look, right? So that's why I was reacting. If you add and remove columns and stuff like that, that could be a little, tricky later on. But I don't mind having this. I was just a little, just a surprise because we haven't tested similar things before. But if it makes sense and if it's important, just it should be.
I think the Rails migration mechanism for adding and removing columns is very reliable, so we don't really need to test that. But I think whenever you start manipulating real data, particularly when you run this migration on the production, it's a good idea to have a test. I started reading about spec migrations after, because I wanted to add the getting started guide, the static page, and that static page, Brian has asked me to add it through a migration.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember exactly the reason. Yeah, because it's because the static pages are added as a migration,
Yeah.
and then I added it as a migration, and it ended up like adding two different pages. Well, basically, the migration thing didn't work properly, and then I thought, well, this is a good idea to have a test, so I make sure that the migration works the correct way
Yeah.
when I'm manipulating the data, but not the database, but not the table itself.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. It doesn't really, it's okay with me. It's just I just reacted to I haven't seen those tests before in our suit. The other thing is about those static pages. I know we've been moving back and forward on the mechanism how to do them, and a funny thing is, I think some pretty requested a story or added a story into Pivotal Tracker where he asks for dynamic static pages, and that's cracked me up a little bit. Dynamic static pages. It's a little redundant, but okay. You know what I mean. There's a lot of ideas on how those things should be done, and I know we have a solution in place. I'm not necessarily happy with the solution, but it's okay.
It works for now. I mean,
It works for now.
it's not that much hassle anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, what I plan to do is I'm just gonna continue to work my way through Pivotal Tracker and all the pull requests that has been merged in, and set up that meeting for this weekend where we can have a broader discussion about stuff. And trying to get back into the game, trying to do some pair programming later today or tomorrow when I'm free, so I can get my hands dirty in the code. I missed that. I would like us to I have two very simple stories that I would like us to vote on if it's possible, and one of them is really simple, and that is add member count to users index. And what I would like to have is, if you go to the members page here, we have this check out our awesome volunteers from all over the globe, and I would like this to say check out all of our 436 awesome volunteers from all over the globe, because that's exactly the amount of members we have. I think it could be a useful thing to know how many members we are actually in our roles. How do you feel about that, guys?
Yeah, that would be cool. I was asking for that too for some time now.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Once again,
I like the idea. I think it will be useful.
Good. Then it's a very straightforward story. We need to just hit the database, make a count, set a variable, and you display it on the page here. So it's nothing fancy. Could we vote on that?
Sure.
So, Sly, you know how voting is done over?
No.
So what you do is you open your Google Hangout window and click the chat icon. So you open up the chat, and we set we give the feature 1 point if it's a very easy feature, 2 points if it's intermediate, or 3 points if it's very hard. It will take some time to fix.
Okay.
And UAI and Yarrow just independently just type in any value that you deem appropriate into the chat window, and when I say return, we hit the return button and we display our values. So and then we talk about it if it deviates.
Okay.
So anyway, are we ready to vote?
Oh yeah.
All right. So type in your values and hit return now. All right. That was very straightforward. So we set let's see, feature 1 point, save. The next one is I would like us to search to add a search or filtering functionality to the user's index. So we're back on the same page, and I would like to have an Ajax feature. If I start typing Sam or something, it just filters everything out except for Sam's profile. That will help us, hosting the scrums to access each member's profile page faster. How do you feel about that?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else? I mean, that's my idea of that, but let's see. I wrote this user story as a site user in order to be able to speed up the process of finding a specific user profile. I would like to use a dynamic search filtering form when accessing the list of all users. Okay. Anything else we can think of with that story? Should we be able to search, like, using skills or projects or something?
I think for this story, keep it focused. Just have a search box for the name.
Okay.
Well, first name, last name.
Sure. So let's see here. Search on first and last name only. First, like this, right? First iteration only, search for first and last name. Okay. Are we ready to vote on it?
Do you have an idea? Do you already know which gem you want to use for this?
Nope. Haven't researched that yet.
Right.
There are some gems. Let's see. I had something up.
There is one from Twitter, which I guess the Twitter type ahead. Well, it's a Rails gem, but it's actually a JavaScript file in the gem. Well, anyway,
Okay.
there are a few, the type ahead JS from
Twitter type for Rails. Okay, I got you. Twitter type ahead. Twitter. This is all right. Okay. So yeah, sure, definitely. That sounds like a good. And people on Twitter makes good working solutions. So I'm happy to go with that.
Also, let me post this link in here. I was looking. Sam has been asking for it for a while. I was looking at it. Sort of researched a little bit. There is a Railcasts on
Okay.
on search, yeah. So basically, he shows exactly how to do it.
Oh, cool. Autocomplete. Yeah, that's great. That's great. All right. So should we vote?
Yeah.
Yeah. So type in your values and hit enter now. All right. We are in full understanding. That's wonderful. I love it. Keep it nice and simple. Save. All right. So these two, yeah. Anything else? Anything about the feature? Yeah. Okay. Since the voting has been so fast, I would like us. I like the getting started thing. My criticism was that it was way too long, but we can work on that. The getting started page. The idea is really good, and I salute you for that, Yaro, that you want to take care of new members. One idea I had was to create a feature tour, with a wizard when somebody visits our site for the first time, or if they actively choose to start a tour like this, they are taking step by step through the entire site, this is the way you add a new project. This is the way you check for scrums or stuff like that. You know the concept.
Yeah, I was actually, when I agree absolutely. There is too much text in the getting started guide. When I was putting down the ideas in it, like the text, I was thinking maybe to make like a mind map or something, like a diagram, like with the infographics. And yeah, I like the idea of a tour. Is just as long as it's like really light, because sometimes you go to some websites and they ask you to take a tour and you just click skip go away.
Yeah, I understand totally. Yeah, keep it simple always. Just the big picture. This is the Scrum thing. This is the projects. Blah blah blah. This is how you find members and stuff. So yeah, nothing too heavy, of course. Nothing too heavy. And this is and also we could have several tours. For just one overview, and if you want to learn more about, for instance, creating new projects or new documents, then we could have one for that. But I don't think that's necessary. But the thing is about this story is to create one of them and implement a tour engine, because there are ready-made jQuery solutions, even gems for that, so that we have something in place. That's one thing. The other thing you said, we mentioned is very interesting, because I believe that images sell much better than words. So some illustrations would be really useful, because I spoke to Sam about this, and we both agree upon that. People don't read documents. People just they want to get the knowledge as possible, and without any too long. They don't want it to cost too much. They don't want to spend time on reading documents just to get to just to learn a few simple steps. So illustrations would be nice. I spoke to Brian about it, if he know anybody that does illustrations, and he said he will think about it, and he had some friends, because making good drawings and nice pictures, it's a very hard thing to do. So we would need somebody, a good designer, a professional illustrator, to do that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're thinking about this for a while with the guys, and I'm just thinking we could attract a designer to our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I was thinking, what can we offer to that designer? What would a designer like in a project, to stay in a project?
Well, I guess the same thing as the rest of us, just the possibility to be a part of something that's creative, I guess. I mean, that's the challenge always, with those open source projects that require people to put in a lot of work and not get paid for it. So it's a tough one.
But you know what I mean. We need to think of an offer. Well, kind of, you know what I mean, like an offer for a designer, so the guy thinks, oh, that's cool, I want to be in that project, I want to draw things for these guys. Mm-hmm. It's just for coders, because at the moment, website one is like, it attracts coders in it. It doesn't attract any UI people, it doesn't attract any designers. And maybe there's a reason for that designers get scared away, or maybe we're not offering something to them. It's just I don't really know those kind of people. I don't really know what they breathe with.
Let's dwell on that and return to this discussion on Saturday and Sunday, because it's a very interesting discussion. I have that as at one of the talking points, because it's a little broader. It could potentially be a long discussion, because it also addresses what interests all of us and why are we here, and why is the universe the way it is. No, you know what I mean. I mean, it's like it could be it's very interesting, an interesting thing to talk about. Why do we as individuals why do we devote our time and effort and energy to do these things? And I think that if we can come up with some of the reasons, we can also understand why people would join our community, and we can get to know our users better. I think by getting to know ourselves better, I think we can get in a better touch with our user base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I was actually a couple of weeks ago. I was close. I was really concerned about how to get feedback from users what they want. Another thing is how to get feedback on features that we put onto the production. And I was finding those different gems for Rails that you can use, which basically it can, for example, when you browse the website, it may pop up on the side, and you can give some feedback if you like something, or you can easily implement a voting thing. Anywhere on the website, you can implement a voting. So, for example, we deploy this new feature, or we have some text in the website, we can just embed a widget, and people, choose a multiple choice question. Just choose I like it, I don't like it, and then maybe we can collect some feedback that way as well.
Yeah. It's also a balance thing. We don't want to be too intrusive, and we want to hassle people too much, because they just usually, people just want to use the applications without constantly being asked what they think about it. But it's a balance thing. I think it's very valuable for us to get that sort of answers. So if we can find a good way, I know that some of the sites I've encountered, they seem to have like a random selection, or every other 100 visitor will be rerouted to or asked a question if you would like to answer a survey. Perhaps this is something we can implement. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about. Except that instead of being redirected to a page with a big survey that you can answer, you can just embed small widgets with just one or two questions, and then you don't get scared away by a survey, because
yeah. Was this feature helpful for you, or something like that? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And also we could limit it. We could limit it to members, which want to do things like that. For example, I would love to. I will show you. I will show you later. I will post you a link. I was showing Brian and Sam, like a Google Chrome extension which lets you leave comments on the UI on live websites.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, I think it would be really cool for those people who are interested in developing things. To be able to give quick feedback really quickly, without going to pivotal, writing there, then posting screenshots. Sometimes just too long.
I gotcha. Yeah, well, let's return to that discussion this weekend. So because we're running late right now anyway. But there's shitloads of stuff we can do, and there's a lot of stuff I want to do, and I think a good team. And some traction, we can make this application even better than it is today. So I'm excited. We're living interesting times. So yeah. Okay. Are you guys planning to do some pair programming now after this meeting, or?
I'm available, Sly. What about you?
I'm available as well. Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and work out those refactorings, and perhaps I can, if you're planning to do something tonight, I can join in, and we can have start having a look at the UI stuff if you guys are done with the other things. Okay?
Yeah, I probably won't be available for tonight, but I would be glad to join tomorrow if so it happens to move the scheduled event for tomorrow.
Sure. Cool. Okie dokie.
Okay.
Anything else, or can we stop the broadcast?
No, that's it.
All right.
No.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.